Man, do you like podcasts? Well then,
welcome to
No Gimmicks Needed!
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show.
this has been the first time, the very first time, that I have actually sat here and gave like a full review of a TNA pay-per-view. And I mean, like, when I say full, I'm not going to break down, like, everything with the matches, but I'm just saying, like, usually I do this part of the podcast, this is part of the podcast, but you get what I'm saying? Like, it's his full, like, it's full thing, right? Where it's just TNA, not just me doing a part of the podcast, just putting it on the side. Y'all seeing my face basically talk about TNA for the first time. Because it was a big night for TNA. It was Slammiversary 2025. Usually, if you go back to this podcast, listen to what we do, we usually talk about TNA Slammiversary and Battle for Glory when the things are good. And TNA usually puts on a decent show. But you know what? Today, TNA made history because this was the biggest crowd that TNA has ever had in North America. Ever since the existence of TNA. And TNA started back in 2002. I have been watching TNA all the way until it turned to like Global Force Wrestling. I couldn't do Global Force Wrestling, and then when it came back to Impact, I tried to get it periodically, and then I'm like, okay, then later in the years I watched it, but then all of a sudden, especially, I just started keeping up with it, basically. But when it was on Spike, I definitely kept up with all this. So now it's Slammiversary. I always consider their Slammiversary like their SummerSlam. Battle for Glory is their WrestleMania, right? So I was like, well, it's a big show for Impact. Now this arena that they were in New York. I don't know exactly what the arena was that they were in. I gotta go look that up to see what arena they were in. But they were in there. I believe the arena could hold about 20,000 people. 20,000 people, I think it was. So they got to about 7,500 people in the crowd tonight. Now that's been one of the biggest things. Now I haven't had to be a TNA show, but they've been to the Liacouras Center. And I know they've had like 3,000 people up in the Liacouras Center before, but there's 7,000 people. I was really hoping. I didn't think it was going to get to 20,000, but I was really hoping that they could at least get to 10,000 people. I was really pulling for TNA to at least get to 10,000 people, but still 7,000 is good, especially for them, their largest crowd that they ever have been in. So we had Slammiversary, and overall, I enjoyed the show. Now, I'm not going to say it was the best Slammiversary, because I know there's recency bias, everybody saying it could be the best Slammiversary, it's the best event TNA has ever done. No, it's the biggest event TNA has ever done, but it ain't the best that TNA has ever done. And there were some questionable things that happened tonight also, but then it really showed you tonight who truly is in control when it comes to this partnership, right? And more so, even if it is a partnership or if it's more just like a, you gotta do what you're told to do, because there was some outcomes tonight that, I'll be honest with you, I was not expecting. The main event, we had a three-way with Joe Hendry, Mike Santana, and Trick Williams, and I was really pulling for Mike Santana. I really was. We had a title match, and I was in the camp of why did JC Jane in this match? I thought it would be Jordan Grace in this matchup, but no, it was JC Jane. They were going to go with her. I was like, well, it's time for Marsha Savage, and I was shocked then. Then same thing with the tag team titles and all. I was like, whoa. There was a lot of stuff, but honestly, in my personal opinion, the match of the night went to Leon Slater versus Moose. That had the emotion. It had his family in the crowd, and they really did put on a really decent match. So I was like, that was, in my personal opinion, which was the match of the night. And then once again, an underrated match that it was like deja vu all over, like 2012? No, not 2012. 2018 all over again when they had Mustafa Ali take on Cedric Alexander, because I was getting them WrestleMania 34 vibes at the opening where they had it on the pre-show, but the opening there I was like, because these guys can really go, and I still want to see like that they can have a classic anytime in there. But we're gonna get into it right now because we got a lot to talk about when it comes to TNA. So starting off, I didn't see any of the pre-show stuff. I didn't watch the TNA pre-show stuff. I know they had Enzo Amore there with Zilla Vatu and the new Dana Brooke, the Ash by Elegance and Elegance thing. They won the Women's Tag Team Championships. Like, I didn't see any of the pre-show stuff. So, going into the beginning of the show, they had Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander. There was something on the line in this matchup, but it was just, once again, I haven't been following the TNA storylines to let you guys know what the hell's been going on, but I just know that ain't nothing going on at that one. But they had what you expected, had a pretty good match. It was underrated to the point where they need more time, because I'm like, you give Mustafa Ali, you give Cedric Alexander 20 minutes, 25 minutes, nobody's touching them on the card. Nobody's touching them on the card. There was this one spot, though, where Mustafa Ali dives outside the ring, and he kind of like falls awkward, like lands on his neck, like his body kind of contorted and twisted up, and I was like, oh God, please let me be okay. It was a nasty looking fall. I was like, you like, really, I hope he's all right with that one. And the finish of the match came where Tasha Steele, because she was out there with Mustafa Ali, was getting up with Cedric Alexander's face, and Cedric actually gave Tasha Steele a lumbar check. She took it well, and as she comes down with her and she launches up, Mustafa Ali hits the 450 on Cedric Alexander and wins the matchup. I thought it was a good opener, good way to start off. It reminds me of the old school TNA when they used to start off with an X Division matchup, and they go around there and they will sit there and have some really good action. That's how this fought up. So it was a good opener to Slammiversary so far. Next up was Matt Cardona and the System taking on Dark State. I didn't know anything about this match. I didn't know there was promotion for this match. I didn't know this match would even happen on the card. Didn't even see this matchup, but I know Matt Cardona and the System beat Dark State. Next up, there was Indy Hartwell taking on Tessa Blanchard. And because I'm a fan of Indy Hartwell, and I'm glad she got fired with TNA. But I was like, okay, so they give it to Tessa. So what's going to happen here with Tessa Blanchard? And obviously, I don't know if Indy Hartwell is actually going to be able to, win the matchup, stuff like that. But, it had to be a good matchup. There was a point where I know Tessa was going to win. Then she was arguing with the ref about something. And then Indy hit like a stun gun and then hit one of her finishers and beat Tessa Blanchard. I was shocked that she beat Tessa Blanchard. Indy Hartwell picks up the win. So there was argument backstage with Tessa Blanchard hanging out with Alicia Fox. Why is that even a thing? And then Santino kicked her out the building. And I'm just like, I had to go back and figure out, I'm trying to figure out what was the problem with Tessa Blanchard. Like what did she say? Other than the obvious. But I'm talking about in the wrestling storyline, like what the hell happened?
Update.
Okay, so apparently what I missed, Tessa Blanchard after the match had a meltdown. She attacked Indy Hartwell, and she also attacked the interviewer. The interviewer was Gia Miller. And apparently throughout the match, I still missed it, that the fans were still chanting she's a racist. Like, we still ain't we ain't past that. Sorry, Moose, we ain't past that. Shouldn't be neither, you know what I'm saying? But that's what apparently has happened with Tessa Blanchard. So she's been... later on in the night, Santino suspends her indefinitely. How long it's going to be suspended, I don't know. How much is going to the rest of the storyline, what's really going on with Tessa Blanchard, I'm not necessarily sure. But I know that she's now has been suspended. Next up is winner take all match for both Knockouts Championship and NXT Women's Championship. Jacy Jayne taking on Marsha Slamovich. You could have told me, and no matter what scenario you had, if you had Jacy Jayne winning, I wouldn't have believed you. If I was a betting man, which I am, and if Q-Flow sees this, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. If I was on FanDuel right now, and it said Jacy Jayne, that thing would have been plus 600. Maybe even plus 1,000. I'm about this. I'm taking that bet. I won't even take that bet, because Marsha Slamovich would have been, negative 700. I had her winning. Easy. They had Johnny Ross in the audience. For those who don't know Johnny Ross, he helped train Marsha Slamovich. And I was like, if it was Jordynne Grace, I would have been like, all right, Jordynne Grace is taking both titles, because Jordynne Grace deserves to have, the NXT Women's Championship and the Knockout Championship. She's a juggernaut. But it ain't going to be Jacy Jayne. I called Jacy Jayne a transitional champion when she beat Stephanie Vicure back all them weeks ago. I thought it was going to be called the Blake Monroe or Jordynne Grace. It hasn't been to any of them yet. So now we're at this matchup. So the match starts out pretty standard as it was, but then towards the end of it, Jacy Jayne tries to cheat. Fallon Henley gives her the NXT Women's Championship while I forgot what the other girl's name is. She goes and distracts the referee, and while Fallon Henley gives the belt to JC Jane. JC Jane tries to go attack Marsha, but the referee spots her, grabs the belt, and as she's putting it away, JC Jane attacks Marsha with the Knockouts Championship. Now, she don't even toss the belt outside the ring. The belt is right there at the top of her head. The referee sees the belt, but I'm pretty sure she was probably supposed to throw it out the ring, or she probably forgot to throw it out the ring. So the referee had to play it off like, I don't see it. So she counts, and then Marsha kicks out at 2. So there's one point in the match that the ref takes a ref bump, gets knocked out. Marsha hits a snowplow finish, but there's no referee. So then a new ref comes in, and then JCJ, kicks out at. But then there's another distraction, and Marsha gets hit with the discus punch. That's JCJ's finisher. And I said, she fell like she was out. And I was just like, this is not happening. This is not happening. She drags her limp body over and pins Marsha Stavich. JC Jane is now your new Knockouts champion plus NXT Women's champion. JC Jane is a double champion. Really? We did that to TNA like that? We did it to TNA like that? Like WWE did it to TNA like that? Like, seriously. Here's the thing. Like I said, if it was Jordan Grace, I would see Jordan Grace winning that. I could easily see Jordan Grace winning that. But I was like, Marsha got this in the bag. And she got it in the bag. I'm like, if they're going to give Trick Williams the TNA championship, I was like, well, they're going to give Marsha, because Marsha, you have one TNA guy that has their heavyweight championship, NXT guy that has their heavyweight championship, so you might as well give the women their women's championship. No, they didn't even do that. They gave it to JC Jane. Like, that happened. I was shocked. I was really shocked. I did not understand that decision, to be honest with you. Honestly, it made TNA look bad. It made them look bad, especially when it was their head coming out and bringing the championship to JC Jane. Now, once again, this could be a storyline, like an NXT takeover type thing, and TNA gets the big comeback win towards the end of the year. It could be that. It really could be that. But however, on one of their biggest shows and their biggest crowd in TNA history, this is how y'all do. Because I was like, okay, all right, that's one. Let's not fuck it up twice. And we'll get to that. Next up was the TNA X Division Championship. Leon Slater taking on Moose. Leon Slater, 20-year-old, who it could be the youngest X Division champion there was. He had his mom, he had his girlfriend, he had his sister, all out in the crowd. So this is like a big fan day. I was expecting him to win this. For those who don't know or don't watch TNA much, Leon Slater was the one when they had the Ultimate X match last month or 2 months ago at that last pay-per-view, and he was up on that 15-foot high scaffold thing, and he did a Swanton 450, and nobody caught him. And Moose was going off on everybody online for criticizing him for not catching him, and AJ Francis and all that stuff like that. But it was really interesting. He's lucky. He's very lucky, very blessed, and very lucky to be alive or not even fully injured. So having him, now this guy had been following the storyline. I don't know if they incorporated that with the storyline, but then Moose was trying to be the longest reigning X Division champion. I think he was trying to beat Austin Aries' record. So that's what the story going on, at least from what I saw going into this matchup. So in the beginning, Moose is hitting all power moves. He's, showing off the strength because Leon Slater is nowhere near the size of Moose, and he's the franchise player for TNA, right? So, but Leon starts fighting back with fast-paced moves. They even go to the outside, and he trips Moose into the steel steps. He even gives him Moose try to give him catches him off the apron, try to get him a powerbomb on the floor. But Leon said he turns into a Hurricane Rana onto the floor on the outside, like he up the ramp, I should say. So Leon is doing things to fight back. And then when we get back into the ring, towards the end of the match, Leon is fighting Moose, and he, with a lot of power, picks up Moose and hits him for his spinning Blue Thunder Bomb. It was very nice. And then he goes to the top rope, hits his Swanton 450 for 2. Moose decided that Aiden English, by the way, who's on commentary, I miss Aiden English. He was saying that nobody has ever kicked out the Swanton 450 in TNA. So Moose is one of the first ones. I can't fact check that. Y'all can fact check that for me. I can't fact check that, honestly. But Moose, when Leon tries to build some offense, he comes off. Moose hits a spear to Leon outside the air. By the way, this is the second spear he hit because he hit a spear earlier in the match and got Leon for 2. So then he hits spear, but Leon's still fighting. And then Leon comes back and he starts fighting back on Moose. And he starts doing Moose's moves, and he gives Moose a spear of his own. He spears Moose, and then Moose, he goes to the top rope, but then Moose rolls out the way. And he rolls to the middle of the ring and gives him the finger. Like, haha, I'm not close enough for you to do your Swanton 450. But then Leon says, no worries. He does a Swanton by least and flies over to the middle of the ring. Impressive. And then he hits Moose, and then he goes to the other corner, and since now Moose is closer, and then he gives him his Swanton 450 for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Leon Slater is your new and youngest X Division champion. It was a nice moment. I was happy for Leon. And first of all, to be honest with you, I'm glad it's off of Moose. Moose, to me, needs to be in a championship picture. He's always in a championship picture. And I'm like, I don't like when they had the big guys have the X Division championship, honestly. But Moose is great. Moose is good at of what he is. So, and he always has that, like I said, franchise appeal to like the face of, because there was a point that Moose was the face of TNA. You can still make the argument that he is. He's like the face of TNA. So but like he probably need to be back in that championship picture, to be honest with you. But having Leon have it, like he fits the right bill for the X Division. But that wasn't all. Because as Leon's in the ring, we hear the do get ready to fly. I ain't gonna lie. I was jumping up and down like Leon was in the ring when I heard that. I was hyped. I was just like, man, it's AJ Styles is back at TNA, because me and Prime was texting in the beginning of the show, and he was like, yo, you think AJ Styles coming back to Get Ready to Fly, or is it going to be the WWE music? And here's the thing, not his heel music, but I love AJ Styles' They Don't Want None WWE theme. Because it's not Def Rebel, okay? It's the CO2s I missed up. But, excuse me, the CFOs, my bad. My apologies. But I really love that AJ Styles song. I have that on my phone. So I enjoy They Don't Want None. But there's something about Get Ready to Fly. It's something about that old TNA. From when I was watching TNA, bruh, it's something about when that song hits. I am. Like, that song is fire. That's one of the best TNA songs ever. That, and because sending, I was so happy when they put the Abyss theme in there. This is what I'm hoping. 2K, if you listen to me, sidebar real quick, please put an AJ Styles TNA Persona card in there, complete with the Get Ready to Fly music, please. But he was out there and he was like, yo, did y'all miss me? And the crowd was like, there were certain points where the crowd sounded kind of dead, but I was like, maybe if y'all was there, y'all can let me know if that was the case. But there was points where it did sound kind of dead, to be a little bit, to be honest with you. But AJ comes out there and he puts over Leon. Like, basically the X Division is going to be in good hands. It's in phenomenal hands. And everybody was chanting, one more match. He said, I'm here for Leon right now. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But he was just out there to endorse Leon Slater. And, basically, as he set off for the X Division, I was like, that was a nice touch. I thought AJ was going to come towards the main event, because he already teased that AJ Styles was coming to Slammiversary. But it's like, what is he going to do? Well, this is his role. Next up, we're getting ready for the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Ladder match for the TNA Tag Team Championships. We have the Nemeth Brothers. We have versus the Hardys, versus the Rascals, versus First Class, which is AJ Francis and Kylo Kilo. So I don't know who the other guy's name is that's part of that group, but that's who is versing. So at the point in the match, Top Dollar has this thing where he grabs somebody in the world's strongest slam position, and he would have somebody on his shoulders, and he would give him like a stronger slam and then a front drop. Okay, so this time he had one of the members of the Rascals. I think his name was it wasn't Zachary Wentz, it was the other guy, and I forgot. I have it written down in my notes here because I'm trying to make sure I get my man's name right. But yeah, you know what? damn, it's gonna come to me at the worst time. But he has him, and he has a ladder holding behind him. So he's swinging the ladder around, hitting everybody. That he hits the Royal Shark Slam on that, and it comes like right down on that like it sucked, right? So there was also a point where the Rascals hit Top Dollar. He's laying down on the ground. They're on top over the ladder. And they come down kind of like, to slam the ladder down on him. Top Dollar got a lot of attention in this match. A lot. There was a ladder bridge set up on the outside. And KC from First Class was on there. And Zachary Wentz jumps from the top and gives him an elbow through the ladder on the outside. These ladders were not breaking. These ladders gave no give. It almost felt like they used them Razor and Shawn Michaels ladders from WrestleMania 10, to be honest with you. So I was like, whoa. Like, there was no give to these ladders at all. Okay? So then, back in the ring, we have Matt and Jeff is teamed up on Top Dollar. He gave him his Twister. He gave him the Twister Face Swanton combination. Okay? And then the match is going on. Meanwhile, they're in the match. Because, like I said, Top Dollar was everywhere in this matchup. There's a ladder. Top Dollar's walking up there. I was like, but the belts is that way. Top Dollar. As soon as he got to the third ring of the ladder, I already know. I was like, oh my God, he about to do this shit. He about to do this shit. And I see the Apollo spot piling up, because I don't like the Apollo spot, but I see it piling up. The Never Brothers hold each other, shit like that. And then next thing you know, Top Dollar, not Nada, does a moonsault from the top of the ladder down to the people below. To be fair, he cleared it. He did do it. He complete moonsault. He didn't botch the moonsault. That will come later. He did not botch the moonsault. He actually hits a clear moonsault. It's quite impressive for a guy his size to hit the moonsault. Saying from somebody who's a Vader fan and seen Vader do the Vader saw, see Bam Bam Bigelow do the moonsault, see Bill DeMott do the No Laughing Matter. Like, to see these big guys do the moonsault, I'm cool. But Top Dollar, not Nada, who had been bottom dollar, been botching, I'm just saying that could have gone wrong a lot of ways. Because actually, in the next spot, it did. And what I mean by that is, so now AJ Francis and his partner KC climbed the ladder to get the belts. The Hardys push them off the ladder, so they gotta go fly to the outside. Now KC flies and he falls sideways, falls on the ladder, and the usual ladder spot, right? Top Dollar falls feet first over the top rope, and there's a ladder bridge there, y'all. And if y'all get the picture, Top Dollar's leg, like, hit one leg goes through the ladder, the other leg on the other side, the outside of the ladder. So it kind of like he falls like really between there and falls on his leg. It was a nasty landing. I ain't never seen shit like that. I was like, don't ever fall with your feet. If you're gonna take that spot, then you gotta fall sideways. You gotta, like, your body gotta take the impact of that ladder, not your feet. Because the way it landed, I was like, it was insane. They done for the match. They done. So every ladder, but kid you not, is broken in the match. I was like, what's happening here? Because, not done yet, Jeff Hardy on the outside has 2 ladder bridges back to back. And each ladder bridge has, I think, the Rascals on there. So he goes to the top rope and he gets a swanton bomb and lands right on them. The ladders don't break. So Jeff literally gets up, like pimps up, like, whoa, okay, let's do this again. Walks to the other side of the ring and dives to the outside for another swanton bomb, and it bends but don't break. I said, what are these ladders, man? So Jeff was like, listen, all ladders are down. So he calls down for the helicopter ladder. It's an actual with the string and the rings on it. It's a helicopter ladder. I said, who climbs a helicopter ladder to ladder match? Where they got this shit from, right? So just about to go do it. The Never Brothers come in, and Matt and Jeff fight them off, and they both give them stereo twist of fates with their head inside the chair. Takes out the Never Brothers. Jeff Hardy climbs this helicopter ladder, retrieves the belts, and the Hardy Boys now win the TNA Tag Team Championships from the Nemeth brothers, who were the champions. So, feel good moment for Slammiversary, but we're not done yet, because who comes out? Bully Ray. Bully Ray makes his way out, but it's just Bully Ray. And now Bully Ray was getting, to in my personal opinion, getting long to the point. He was like, listen, back in New York, 25 years ago, Royal Rumble 2000, the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys had a tables match, stole the show. He's not lying. That was the best match on that. No, I'm lying. Before I even talk out my ass, that match was good. That would have been the best match until Cactus Jack versus Triple H in that street fight. They were on top of that. That Cactus Jack and Triple H street fight, that was classic. Okay, classic. Especially Triple H at that era and Cactus Jack, they had an awesome ass street fight. They had a great match, almost to steal the show, because those were the two best matches on the card. The Rumble sucked, okay? Rock botched everything. The Rumble sucked. The 2000 Rumble sucked, okay? Rikishi was the highlight, okay? So, but neither here or there. The sum of what Bubba or Bully Ray is talking about, he would say, listen, you've made history, we made history, you won titles, we won titles. Y'all, because we consider me, I consider the best team, but y'all right behind us. Battle for Glory in October. The Hardy Boys versus Team 3D one last time. And everybody in the crowd, at least from it looked like on my feed when I was watching, didn't react to that. And the first thing they started chanting was the thing that I wanted to know when Bully Ray first came out there was, where's Devon? I know Devon has they have Legends contracts at WWE, and I don't think Devon's a producer anymore. But where the fuck is Devon? Like, it just looked like to me like Devon was just on his couch and was just like, but Bully, what the fuck you talking about? Like, I don't even know if Devon really can still go, to be honest with you. And I know that they try to plan it, like, maybe for October because they give Devon time to get in shape, but I remember Devon had some major back problems. Like, and you're talking about a tables match? I don't think Devon can go like that, to be honest with you. Like, what is Bully talking about? Listen, well, I didn't see him one last time, but that one last time should have been, I don't know, 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That should have been back when Matt Hardy was woken Matt Hardy in WWE. Like, that is the era it should have been. The Hardy Boys get back together and y'all do the Dudley Boys. That 2017, 2018, 2019 era. 2025? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. So, I don't know what's going to come of this. I really don't know. I had to hear somebody's opinion about it, but I'm just like, but like everybody was saying, where the hell is Devon? Main event time. The three-way match. This is when Santino comes out, and they're trying to put extra juice on it, to be honest with you. And this is where he talks about the Tessa Blanchard suspension, because, you know, we're not having any of that. I mean, honest with you, I really shouldn't have brought Tessa Blanchard back in the first place, but you know what, hey. But he's out there. Michael LaGreca from Busted Open Radio's out there. Tommy Jr. with his man bun is out there. He's asking them, who do you think is going to win tonight? Anybody? Mike Santana, because, you know, we're in New York right now. I'm picking Mike Santana. Joe Hendry's out first, because I believe in Joe Hendry. Then Mike Santana is out next. He gets wrapped in, there was a Puerto Rican hip-hop artist in there. I don't know who they said he was, but he was getting wrapped to the ring, so he was coming in. I was actually feeling it. I was feeling the beat a little bit. You know, I was feeling that. So he comes to the ring, and then in the back we see, or at the stage, we see this choir who are singing "Whoop That Trick." They, you know, it's like you know, choir, they just sitting there harmonizing, boom, boom, boom. Whoop that trick, whoop that trick. And it's like, and I forgot, there was a word that my wife used that they were doing in the station of the song. And then when Trick Williams comes out, his song plays, everybody's chanting "Whoop that trick" and getting hype. And I'm like, ain't he the heel? Trick's the heel. But it sounded like he was the most over in the matchup. I could be wrong. I could have heard it wrong. I'll be honest with you. I could have heard it wrong. But I necessarily don't know. But when they did the introductions, he got the booze. But when it comes to the entrance, everybody was into the entrance. They double teamed Trick Williams at first. And then once they do that, then all of a sudden, Joe Hendry and Mike Santana stay on each other. There was a powerbomb blockbuster combo to Trick Williams where Joe Hendry had him in the powerbomb, and Santana came off the top rope and hit him with the blockbuster. Joe Hendry is about to go for a choke slam to Trick Williams, and Trick does a backflip out of it, goes for his Booker T sidekick, misses, but then Joe Hendry hits the standing ovation to Trick Williams, and it's only for a 2 count. So, no, actually no, because Frankie Kazarian, who by the way was out there when Santana was asking everybody about their picks, and I was like, he was out there just to heal it up, pulls referee out, and I'm just like, okay. Like, you know, he was out there. So the ref sends him to the back. So then, later on in the match, something seemed to be wrong with Trick Williams. At first, I know he probably could really injure himself because you see all people coming out there for the back checking on him, right? So meanwhile, it's just Joe Hendry and Mike Santana in the match. They're going at it. Mike Santana hits a rolling buck 50, and then a corner senton for only 2. Standing ovation to Mike Santana for a 2 count, and then Mike Santana fights back, gets the motivation from the crowd, hits back-to-back spin the blocks. For those who don't know, it's like his spinning hard clothesline on Joe Hendry, and then as he's going for the pin, Trick Williams is not hurt no more. He comes in, takes Mike Santana, tosses him out the ring, and pins Joe Hendry. 1, 2, 3. Trick Williams is still, listen to me, is still your TNA World Heavyweight Champion. What? Honestly, I wasn't even expecting that. I wasn't even expecting that, y'all. I wasn't even expecting that. I was like, I told y'all earlier, y'all was making TNA look kind of stupid here, because this was the moment for Mike Santana. Now I'm like, okay, are they waiting for Battle for Glory? But I'm like, they're not going to have a bigger audience than they did in New York. This is his home, man. In front of 7,000 people, y'all not getting that crowd at Bound for Glory. I understand Bound for Glory is their WrestleMania. I understand that. But unless they try to do another big building, they're not going to get them kind of people again. They're not going to be back in New York. They're going to be in, I don't know if they said, I think they said it tonight, in Massachusetts maybe. I felt as though, this wasn't the way to go. In my personal opinion, this wasn't the way to go. And I wanted Mike to win this. And first of all, it should have been a one-on-one without Joe Hendry in there in the first place. But I don't know. It just felt, and once again, the crowd, I think like the air got sucked out of them. And I felt as though like for like the true TNA fans, I felt as though like TNA got robbed tonight. Like they got embarrassed on their own big ass show in front of the big ass crowd. And NXT just took over. WWE just took them shits over. And I was like, see, this is when it's looking like this ain't the partnership we probably thought it was, to be honest with y'all. Overall, I thought Slammiversary for what it was a thumbs up. Is it the best Slammiversary? No, by no means. Is it the worst? No, by no means. But it's like right in the middle. I can't give it a grade, but I give it a thumbs up. But I was disappointed of how TNA looked overall tonight. But you guys on the YouTube version, post out in the comments down below how you guys felt about it, and just post out in the comments and let me know, what do you think TNA got screwed over or not, and hit that like button as well. And for the people who are listening on to the podcast version, stay tuned because we got more stuff to talk about.